by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 6th day of March, 2020. Hope and I trust that everyone had an enjoyable, restful evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, again, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Please ensure that you observe the rules of the road, whether you're a pedestrian, cyclist, operating any type of vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands. Remember that the life you save may be your own. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working elsewhere. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During those periods, our phone lines are always open, and there's always someone there waiting to take your calls. Again, this morning, it is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on our toll-free number, provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and the 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can leave us a message or send us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. I want to say, express my appreciation to all those persons wherever I see you who talk about the show and talk about the fact that you appreciate it and the type of information that we provide on the show for you, helping to enlighten you and to broaden your perspective, especially on things that are occurring locally as well. And this morning, I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Ralph Moses. I saw him the other day and he said, I listen to you every day. So Mr. Ralph Moses, I want to wish you a happy Friday, the 6th of March, and encourage you to continue to listen to Radio Cayman and For the Record as well. This morning, it is my pleasure to have in the studio again the leader of the opposition, Honorable Arden McLean, and Mr. Christopher Saunders, MLA, who represents Bordentown West.
So doubtful.
Right? It's been so long I've said it.
Yeah, that's all right.
Bordentown West in our Legislative Assembly. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C. I'll lead off, and good morning to listening public, the entire Cayman Islands. Thank you for having us on. Last week we didn't get here because we gave up our slot for the coronavirus update. And the week before that, I had the East End Sports Day.
Yes.
So so it's been a while. I haven't been on.
And again, I want to say thank you, and I did mention it on the radio, for ceding your spot on Friday, because you were quite adamant that if it was something extremely important that the government needed to discuss and needed to alert the public to, that you didn't want to stand in the way of that as well. And again, thank you.
Well, the country is bigger than the members of the opposition, and much bigger than I am, and that needs to be recognized as important. That's more important than anything else we're doing in this country, and I think this morning we'll lead off with that, but the economic aspect of it, and hopefully we don't have it as widespread as other places are having it now. But we'll lead off with it, and Chris will lead off with that, and what we see as some suggestions on our positions on certain aspects of it, and especially the economic impact that is going to have on this country. We are too small, we are too dependent upon the outside, and people coming here to not address it up front. We're much too small to sustain something of that magnitude if it becomes an epidemic worldwide, really. We need to prepare quickly.
Sure. Mr. Saunders.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, OC, and it's great to be back. I'm glad Susan is back there in the studio too. I remember the last time we were here, what had happened, so that's fine. But no, the thing about it is on Wednesday we had received an update from members of the government medical team with regards to the virus, and they had indicated to me at that time that it was pretty much on the verge of the World Health Organization looking at it as being a pandemic. It has not been declared a pandemic as yet. So what I've been doing since then is actually been looking back at one of the things I started before, which had helped prepare me going into the meeting, was, this coronavirus is really SARS on steroids. It is a part of the SARS family. And one of the things, even the name COVID-19, the 19 actually is from the 2019, the year in which it came out. So as you can see, this is something that started from last year, and now we're pretty much into the third year of this month. Now, I think at first, it started out small, as with most things, and then it has really ramped up. So from that standpoint now, for me and for my colleagues in opposition, what we've been focusing on now is what is the possible impact this will have on the Cayman economy. We have seen many countries around the world starting stimulus packages and doing different things. The U.S. Federal Reserve just recently dropped 50 basis points, 0.5% on interest rates. The last time they had a meeting like that, where they actually cut interest rate outside of the normal schedule, was back in 2008. So you can see pretty much that the U.S. themselves is actually preparing for an economic slowdown. And of course, if you look on world food prices, you already start seeing some overall decrease in some prices, because with the Chinese now lowering their demand, the most populous country, you see with that decrease in demand, you see some prices coming down. But there are also noticeable price increase on some items. So like dairy and so forth, has been going up. And so what it is that we want to do is at least see if we can sit down with the government and say, well, okay, guys, what are the plans that we have in place? This is not something to score political points on at the end of the day.
Not a partisan issue.
Yeah, this is something where we all have to put together all our minds. Now, I'm aware there's a CEO conference, the Fidelity CEO conference this morning. So more than likely, the Premier will probably be making some announcement on it. I suspect, and I'm only guessing here, that you may probably find some duty reduction on maybe some key items or so forth. That's what I would do in that situation. But what I would like for the government, or at least ensure that the government is having something like that on hand, is to start looking at other stimulus packages. Now, there are ultimately two ways any government can stimulate the economy, is either through monetary policy or fiscal policy. We don't have monetary policy here, which is controlling money through money supply through interest rates. But the Fed's already done that for us. So there should be some reduction in people's mortgages by that 0.5% cut.
And there's a possibility that the feds may do another cut as well. There is a possibility.
So, but the other side of it that I'm more worried about is that the people who depend on the tourism industry. I mean, I think this is one of the things up to last night. The leader and I was speaking about that. Like you see exactly what's happening with the cruise industry already and the travel industry. Is that, for some sectors, should we start looking at the pension holiday, or at least start having some things on hand where you can start looking at putting money back in the employees' hand, but also money back in the employers' hand. Yes, it's kind of temporary to some extent, but at the same time, when you have an economy that is consumption driven, it's important that people basically have money to consume. People have money to live. But at the same time, too, what I would also like, and this is one of the things that came up during the finance committee of when the ESO came in, and we're looking at the market basket of goods that they use for the consumer price index, is, well, I think they're looking at talking about probably resetting it to some extent. But also, I'd like to have that market basket compared to other market baskets in the region to see exactly where it is that we compare. I mean, because some of the prices that we have here compared to South Florida is just ridiculous. And I think this is sometimes where the government need to step in to make sure that there ain't no price gouging or anything like that too. So it's kind of one of those conversations that we need to sit down, have some of our best minds together and say, well, okay, what can we do to make sure if this happens, and this happens? Because now it's just starting. And the minute it's declared a pandemic, then we're going to have a real issue. So for us right now, it's about laying the foundation, having a series of initiatives ready to go, if certain things happen. And I think that is what it is ultimately that we need to be looking at.
Okay. Now, in the world today, everything is basically data-driven. One of the criticisms that have been laid at the foot of the Cayman Islands, especially after Hurricane Ivan, was the lack of information, the lack of data, because we simply didn't record as much as we needed to record. Data is going to be important to see what effect this has had, especially, let's say, on the tourism industry. So we need the hotel accommodations and the condos and stuff to say, whether or not they've seen a drop and what the percentage of that drop is. Because if the government is going to try to intervene in terms of, policy, then you really need to get a grasp on,
what direction
it's going, and to be able to measure exactly the impact.
I have to be honest. I mean, funny enough, I brought the company statistics for 2018 with me. This is one of the things I travel with, and I gotta be honest with you. Kudos to the Ministry of Finance, and kudos also, especially to the Economics and Statistics Office. Yeah. We do have a lot of data in this country, and I can tell you, if there's one thing that we do have, is too much information. Because one of the things I do have a problem with is some of the financial services information that we put out there. Those are what our competitors are seeing and other people are seeing to say, wait a minute, the Cayman Islands have this much money, in quote-unquote, banks in the Cayman Islands and all that kind of stuff. So the information is there. But like with most things, it is, you mine it. And that's one of the things, like I said, to ESO credit, they do a very good job. And I can tell you, even sitting on the Public Accounts Committee, the Ministry of Finance, I mean, the team that they have, led by Ken and, Michael and all those guys, they do a phenomenal job. I can tell anybody that. I've been interacting with them, and even the ESO team, those guys they're pretty good. They're very good. So I think the information is there. But for us right now, the main thing is, one of the things that we don't probably do well is looking at the relationships between certain numbers. And I think what we need to do is sit down now and start looking at those relationships, and see, okay, how can we develop a pattern? Because the objective here of taking numbers, and I tell you, and this is accountant in me, is that when you go in and you report your financial results of February, and you give that's done in March, there's nothing that you can do to change those results in February. It is what it is. Our job, ultimately, as CFOs, CPAs, and that kind of stuff, is to take this number based on historical trends, then try to forecast or predict the future, and then see what behaviors that we can do or insert in the process to get a desired result. And it's the same thing like the economy now. People like to say the government should run like a business. I can tell you, government can't. Some services will never ever make a profit. So it is a matter of sitting down and seeing exactly those different relationships. And what I would like, in particular, start with the tourism industry, or even start with our own Cayman Airways, is that we already know travel is affected. You saw the government own announcement in terms of even non-essential travel.
Right.
You've just given a 5% pay increase across, which well-deserved. Cayman Airways needed it. But at the same time, now we know Cayman Airways financial results are going to be impacted. Then you still have the MAX 8 issue. You know, and one of the things that came out even during the budget process for us is looking at the National Tourism Plan. I didn't see Cayman Airways featured in it, and that kind of scared me. And the reason being, people can say what they want to say about Cayman Airways, but Cayman Airways need to be looked at through the lens of an economic accelerator, where what it does to the economy. You take Cayman Airways out, those $200 fares that you're getting to the U.S. and to Miami, those fares are gone. And if you want an example, look at Turks and Caicos. When Cayman Airways used to service that route, you had one set of price. Now look at the prices compared then to now. So, you know, Cayman Airways need to be looked at from that standpoint.
Okay. Good time for us to take a break. When we come back, when we return, we want to talk a little bit about the government's preparation and what your views are in terms of the government's preparation for this coronavirus situation. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the historical vignette series, The Cayman Islands. He hath founded it upon the seas.
The 1700s proved to be a very important century to the Cayman Islands. Permanent settlement of Grand Cayman began with a few families, most notably the Boddens. Between 1734 and 1742, 5 land grants in Grand Cayman were made by the governor of Jamaica. At this time, mahogany and logwood were exported to Jamaica. In 1780, William Eden, a mariner and early English settler, established a cotton and mahogany plantation in Savannah's Pedro Bluff and built St. James, now known as Pedro St. James Castle, a remarkable building for that period and the only house on Grand Cayman to survive a devastating hurricane of 1784. In 1794, the wreck of the 10 sails occurred, and Cayman's most popular legend of how the island became tax-free was born. In 1798, the governor of Jamaica appointed the first magistrate in Cayman.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
I remember playing at 7 Mile Beach as a boy, eating mango by the sea, learning how to snorkel. My mother, she worked so hard to provide for our family so that we could have those moments. Seeing her age has been tough. That strong, capable woman, now in need of daily support, it's my time to be strong for her.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of the careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
2020 means perfect vision, and if you have your sights set on driving a new hybrid, then the time is now to check out the new RAV4 and CHR. Hold up. Just 2 of the many hybrid models that Vamped is bringing to Cayman. Whether you're looking for a smoother and quieter way of driving or want a car that maximizes fuel efficiency while minimizing emissions, there are lots of ways a new hybrid from Vamped can make the difference in your life. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries without being plugged in. So focus your 2020 vision on a new hybrid from Vamped Motors, and we will see you through. Come to Vamped, home of the hybrid, located on Walkers Road. Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Baden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS Brack Agency in Cayman Brack. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning the Honorable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition, and MLA Mr. Christopher Saunders. Gentlemen, Mike is back over to you. In relation to, are you satisfied with being kept up to date with the coronavirus situation by the government? We see the government initially allocated $1 million to the Health Services Authority for them to make preparations, for this and everything. Give us your assessment of the measures that the government has taken so far.
Well, my first update was National Security Council, and I communicated all that to my guys about the basic stuff that we're doing. That was being planned at the time in preparation. The next update was Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday, when we had Dr. Lee, Dr. Williams, and
Lizette,
the lady from Coleman.
Yeah,
Coleman.
Daniel Coleman.
And Gloria and the likes. Now, like every other country in the world, anticipating this, we will never do to the full magnitude of what is possible. So we have to, and it's obvious that they're trying their best to ensure that they are prepared as far as possible. You can't cover every eventuality, and so that they have now agreed to update us once a week, which is we'll get what transpired over the last week and whatnot. So the next one is Thursday, right? Next week, Thursday. That is all of the opposition now, including all members on the opposition benches. Okay. And again, Mr. Miller was part of that. This is not about Mr. Miller or me or any other member over there. This is about this country. And we all understand that. And so we are looking forward to that. They have offered to give us distribution flyers, and they gave us the information on the flu clinic will be opening on Monday, which is going to be a separate clinic as well. Okay. And that's not mean that's for corona. It's just that it's separating it. Yes. And they told us about they're creating a couple of negative pressure places at the hospital, and they're looking at different areas to contain people if it reaches that point. But the one thing that I believe people needs to be receptive to is that if this thing gets blown out of proportion here in the Cayman, we're going to have to use all the resources we have, such as civic centers and whatnot, and the isolation of people to try to prevent the spread of it. So there are, and people have to be receptive to that, and there are provisions in law that allows us to do emergencies, and commandeer premises and equipment and whatnot. But they are on top of the equipment being brought in and testing kits and whatnot. They are in connection with the Caribbean CDC, I think it is. CD or something like that. What is Caribbean?
CDM, I think that's just...
Okay.
Caribbean Disaster Management.
But they can do the test for us, which is 2 days.
2 days.
2 days turnaround. We haven't had none. We have had one suspected case, I believe, and that was sent, but it really came back as influenza A, which is the ordinary cold. But that gave us the opportunity to realize that they can turn this around in quick order. But they're not taking any chances with it, but neither can we. We have to protect ourselves as well. And they have a lot of information out, such as there's no need for healthy people to wear masks and the likes. And there's no need to have a run on the suppliers or drugstores, whatever, to buy up all the masks. Because you see, they just announced that they ordered 35 million more from 3M, I think it is, masks.
I was going to say China a while ago.
No, 3M. So, by and large, you can't prepare for eventuality, but they're doing pretty good with it. And I think more information needs to get out to the people who are on the ground, who are not necessarily comfortable with the internet and be able to go up there. So I asked them to give me the flyers so that I can distribute them house to house in East End, so people can have something to read and as a means of instruction on what to do and what not to do. So as time progresses, we'll just ramp it up, and obviously we'll have to change whatever plans we have depending on the situation.
Yeah. No, one of the things I'd raised at the meeting on Wednesday was just the similarities to SARS. Because, I mean, this is, like I said, SARS on steroid. I think SARS was back in 2004? And one of the things I've noticed at SARS, I mean, it came and then just all of a sudden, I think it was like in April of the year, it just basically just like disappeared. And one of the things I was curious about, and I guess this is just coming from my own research, and like this time of year now where it's cold in those cold countries where the viruses can live for X amount of time. By April of that year, SARS had just pretty much, through the weather changes, the weather conditions and everything else, it had just pretty much, its ability to survive, I think there. So, but this one's definitely a different strain. A vaccine is quite a while away, but what has been, I guess, surprising to most people is that the amount of children that are actually unaffected by it. You know, so that is actually pretty good in that regards. You know what I mean? And as much as you look at the amount of infected cases, the fatality rate is still, I think it was about 2 or 3 point something percent or something.
The average was below 2, yeah.
Yeah. So
and they figure it'll go up to 2.
Yeah, maybe. But the main thing, I mean, is being aware of it and being controlled. But based on the update that we had got on Wednesday, I can say that the government team, this is a major priority for them. They are taking it, giving it the seriousness that they want. And I left that meeting feeling a little bit more encouraged in terms of the approach and everything else. So from that standpoint, I can say at this point that they have my full confidence in terms of what it is that they can do. And the next step for us now is just more public education, where we have offered to actually even assist in going out and even delivering stuff to the homes. I mean, we have the machineries to get stuff done within the neighborhood. I mean, we don't have the local TV. I mean, some people do listen to radio, but you know, it takes nothing to directly stick something in someone's door just so they have the information.
And what about social media? Because already we see people putting out scary and false information on social media. People have to take personal responsibility as well in terms of what they try to share with the public.
Well, you know how. Sorry,
no, that's sense of humor. You can't get around it.
You know how things work in Cayman OC. It hasn't changed. You know, they say if you sneeze in West Bay, it was in East End within hours before the sun went down. We have always said that when we were growing up. The only difference now is that it has gotten worse with social media. And you know, the other night somebody, when that ship was turned down in Jamaica that day, and I was inundated with calls. So I pick up the phone, call Mo's. And Mose explained to me what it was. But of course, I can't get back to those same people, you know. And then by evening, he said he was going to update me by that evening. And he called me, must have been around 7 or something like that. I updated my guys, but he called me around 7 and saying he was issuing a press release. He was not taking any chances, which he and I had agreed that he would err on the side of caution.
Okay.
And he wasn't taking any chances, and he was going to release a press release that we were not going to receive that ship. You know, so that's the nature of this thing. You know, people will say, oh, they had the coronavirus. That's what I was hearing.
Okay.
They didn't.
Top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 8 o'clock.
It's Frozen Food Month at Foster's. With tons of frozen options to choose from, you can feed your family a fully balanced or dietary-specific meal while reducing waste and saving money. Many of today's frozen options are crafted with fresh ingredients and taste-tested by real chefs, so you can rest assured your family will enjoy their dinner. Plus, with quick freezing methods, nutrients and freshness are locked in, so you can get the most out of frozen. Enjoy Frozen Food Month all March long at Foster's.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Did you know that Value Med Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with Value Med. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. Value Med on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Island.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. 27 cruise ships are scheduled to visit the Cayman Islands next week, and Acting Director of the Port Authority, Joey Wood, says residents shouldn't be concerned that passengers are going to bring and spread COVID-19 coronavirus through Cayman. He says the cruise lines are putting in place strict measures.
I want to assure the public that they have some pretty stringent procedures in place to help prevent that. And if it does occur on board the ship, it's contained, and we're also notified before they arrive on our shores. So it's probably the safest visitor travel to Cayman.
Mr. Wood says before a passenger is allowed to board a cruise ship, they're screened, and if they've been someplace that has an outbreak or have been in contact with someone who may have been infected, or if they're showing symptoms, they won't be allowed to sail nor their party.
It's in their interest to keep their ship disease-free.
In the meantime, the Cayman Islands Ministry and Department of Tourism remain on alert as the novel coronavirus continues to make an impact around the globe and within the local economy. Tourism Minister, the Honorable Moses Kirkconnell, says while the economic impact, current and potential to Cayman's tourism sector is unquantified at this early stage, efforts are being taken by CDOT to collaborate with tourism stakeholders to understand potential business disruption directly linked to the virus and travel restrictions. As a primary step, CDOT has issued an accommodation sector survey to licensed properties throughout the Cayman Islands. The DOT hopes this will establish a baseline assessment of the impact coronavirus has had on tourism so far and provide insight on potential areas of concern for the sector in coming months. In addition to the accommodation survey, a thorough review of the department's international marketing and promotion plans is being actioned to ensure that marketing activity is scaled in relation to countries now facing significant in-country transmission of COVID-19. In other news, a morning crash in Georgetown lands several people in the hospital on Wednesday. Police reported that shortly after 10 a.m., they were called to a report of a 2-vehicle crash on Shedden Road near Prenter Way. A public bus had pulled off to the roadside when a Hyundai collided with the rear of it. All 12 bus passengers, along with the drivers of both vehicles, were taken to the hospital for treatment for minor injuries and released. And why CLA finalist Samuel Young inspires Cayman's youth to embrace mentorship as a part of life.
Mentorship is one of the greatest benefits that you can have on your quest to academic and professional success. The benefit and the wisdom that you gain can outweigh any classroom, any natural ability, any ounce of sheer luck that you may have. Mentorship sets you up for life. It prepares you to deal with those things that textbooks can't tell you. And if you ask any accomplished person, they'll admit to you that having a mentor was one of the greatest things that happened in their lives. Mentors offer knowledge and help build your confidence. Mentors add valuable information to you that point out in the direction of the wholeness and success.
The Young Caymanian Leadership Award finalist was the keynote speaker for the 2020 Mentoring Cayman class, which gathered Tuesday for the annual Students and Mentors Lunch at the Wharf Restaurant. Mentoring Cayman, first introduced in 2002, is a year-long program introduced by the Chamber of Commerce that partners high-achieving Year 11 students from public and private schools with an influential and motivated mentor from the business community or government. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. The number of coronavirus cases has gone up drastically in Iran, which has confirmed more than 1,200 new infections. The authorities say the total number is almost 5,000, but many fear the real figure is much higher. The spread of the virus has also caused a big fall in the price of oil. Gunmen have attacked a ceremony in the Afghan capital Kabul, killing at least 27 people. The chief executive, Abdullah Abdullah, is said to have escaped unhurt. The Taliban has said it didn't carry out the attack, which was the first since the militants and the US reached a deal aimed at ending the conflict. A ceasefire in force since midnight appears to be holding in the Syrian province of Idlib. Monitors said the skies were free of warplanes for the first time in weeks, but there have been reports of at least one major clash on the ground, with 15 people killed in Idlib province. The truce was brokered by Russia and Turkey. And those are the latest stories from BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. ValueMed Pharmacy is your community care partner for health and wellness needs. We offer convenient prescription processing at the counter and online at value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com, with pickup available at the Walkers Road or Boddentown location. We also accept transfer prescriptions from other pharmacies. More than just a pharmacy, shop ValueMed for personal care and beauty products from trusted brands, perfume and gift sets, Hallmark and greeting cards, baby clothes, footwear, handbags, swimwear, home decor, toys, school supplies, and stationery. And home convalescence aids like wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, canes, and hospital beds. With 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and in Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit ValueMed, more than just a pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Rotary Club Central, in association with the Cayman Islands Health Services Authority, HSA, present Health Check 2020. Free health check, free mini medical consultation, diabetes, hypertension, and much, much more. Saturday, March 7, 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Nurses, doctors, Rotarians in service to you. The Rotary Health Check 2020 at A.L. Thompson's, Foster's Airport and Countryside, Foster's Republics, and Camana Bay. Costs you less. And Hurley's Supermarket. You may save your life. Rotary Central Health Check 2020. Your life, your health. Rotary, connecting the world.
The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Super Stitch. We are known for our amazing fabrics, top quality tailoring, and dressmaking. But did you know that we also carry trimmings, glitter, sequins, acrylic paints for fabrics and craft, floral wire, glues, markers, foam balls, and assorted ribbons? Yes, we do. You have a do-it-yourself project? Just pop into Super Stitch and see what we have in store for you. There is a craft item for your every need.
My favorite, the beads, glass ones, flat, and even those shell ones.
Super Stitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Top of the morning to you. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 81 degrees. Relative humidity is 86%. Barometric pressure is 30.08 inches and rising. The wind is east at 4 knots. Overnight low temperature was 75 degrees. Synopsis indicate light north to northeasterly winds and slight seas today. Will increase to moderate northeasterly winds with moderate seas by tomorrow morning in association with a cold front moving over the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers around the Cayman area moving west. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of afternoon showers, and temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Your winds will be north to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Pretty much the same for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures falling to the low 70s tonight. Your winds will be northerly at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. We're presently at a high tide, and the next low tide will be this afternoon at 1:55, and a high tide again tonight at 7:20. The sun will set this evening at 6:31 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:40. And the outlook is calling for fresh to strong northeasterly winds and rough seas, in which a small craft warning will be issued from tomorrow afternoon in association with a high-pressure system following the cold front passage. That's the very latest on your weather report.
Superstitch Sewing and Fabric Center was a proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Superstitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky. New stock has just arrived at Superstitch. Now don't take my word for it, drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Superstitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Superstitch, 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
If your business is over here, but your customers are over here, adding more yellow to your business will bring you both right here. With everyone searching yellows, print, online, and mobile app, getting your business noticed is easier than ever. Book your consultation today at findyellow.com.
For the health of it, Radio Cayman's premier health show is brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association, Holy Cross Hospital,
Cayman Fertility Center,
and EatingClean.com.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at traffic. Coming from the east on Shamrock Road, busy traffic and traffic heavy on the Linford Pearson Highway. Busy traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way. A lot of patience needed this morning as you're heading down to Georgetown. Pool Road, steady traffic, and traffic is also busy coming off the Linford Pearson Highway on Agnes Way. And looking towards Owen Roberts Drive, flowing pretty good, and as well as on from the West Bay 4-way stop. And moderate flow of traffic on Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue. And looking towards West Bay Road and from the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. In and out of Georgetown on Shedden Road, things looking pretty good as traffic flowing at a good pace. and a moderate flow of traffic on North Sound Road. Now, if you've seen accidents or incidents on Cayman's roads, give us a call here at Radio Cayman at 949-6990. Have a good morning. Click it or ticket.
You know what goes perfect with tuna? Bacon. That's why Subway's adding bacon to our delicious tuna sandwich. It's the Tuna BLT. At just 540 calories for a 6-inch, you'll love this mouth-watering combination of flavors. Subway's tasty tuna sandwich is simply sumptuous on its own, but add bacon and it's out of this world delicious. After all, bacon and tuna are perfect together. Stop by any of Subway's 7 locations today and get the Tuna BLT. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Wow, looks good. What is that?
Chicken share.
What did you just say to me?
Chicken share.
I am not a chicken.
Whoa! I said chicken share. It's from KFC. Bucket of 12 hot wings, 6 pieces of chicken, or 8 tenders. KFC chicken share. Just $12 each.
Oh.
Want some chicken, tenders, or hot wings?
You're sharing your chicken share with me?
The new chicken share from KFC, just $12 each, and it's finger-licking good. Dine at KFC Baytown Plaza, KFC Shedden Road, or KFC at the Strand.
The Spring 2020 Labor Force Survey conducted by the Economics and Statistics Office starts on Sunday, March 8th. The Labor Force Survey collects data on employed and unemployed persons. Trained interviewers with ESO ID cards will visit randomly selected households in all districts. The interviews are confidential in accordance with the statistics law. No individual data will be published or disclosed. Survey data are exempt from freedom of information. For more details, please call the ESO hotline at 516-3329.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Honorable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition, and MLA, Mr. Christopher Saunders. Gentlemen, this week, we had a situation, and Mr. McLean, you mentioned it earlier that you had received calls, and then you called the Minister, Deputy Premier and Minister for Tourism of the Cayman Islands about the situation with a cruise ship that bypassed here. You saw a similar situation in Jamaica. It occurred in Jamaica where I think it was a total of 4 cruise ships, 4 Carnival's cruise ships were going to bypass Jamaica. Sorry. It appears that the Jamaica decision was based on an occurrence, prior occurrence in relation to restricting cruise passengers on a ship and then in another instance not allowing the ship to call in Jamaica at all. So the Minister for Health, Dr. Christopher Tufton, as well as the Minister for Tourism, they pointed out exactly, they told their people exactly what the situation was, what had caused it, and they pointed out that at the end of the day, the decisions that they made were in the interest of the health and safety of their people, which they saw as being first and foremost and paramount as far as they were concerned. Similar situation here in the Cayman Islands. I'm not sure that our government handled it the same way. I've spoken to people, and some people said the government should have came out and said exactly what transpired between Carnival Cruise Lines and themselves, because at the end of the day, if it was done in the interest of the people of the Cayman Islands, the people of the Cayman Islands would have been fully behind the government in terms of their decision.
And let's not conflate the two issues. One was the first incident that I called Mose about, where there was a common cold on board, and then they didn't stay in Jamaica because the test was going to take too long, so they came to Cayman. That's the one I'm talking about there. But the most recent incident is it's obvious, OC, that we have to be extremely careful with the cruise liners. One country to the next within a day, day and a half. So anything can happen on those cruise ships. There is proof of that. The greatest concentration of coronavirus outside of China is now being transmitted on these ships. Mm-hmm. We have one in California right now. Remember, we had one in Europe recently, where over 300 or over 600 was infected with it, or something like that. And they flew a number of those people home and to America, and I think they have had 10 deaths in Washington State as a result of it, and so we have to be extremely careful. But you know what happens is that the passenger liners, this Caribbean Cruise Association and the likes, they that's how they hold people. They try to intimidate countries. Oh, we're not going to come if you don't do this and you don't do that. And I believe that was a direct result of us not receiving the first one. And this most recent case now, that they bypass us and Jamaica. And that's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, but that's why that's in line with what Chris said earlier. If it is out of necessity, then they must be receptive to that because it's going to affect our economy. Whether it's out of necessity or if they initiate it, it's going to affect our economy. So that's why we have to be so careful with it. But they just try to intimidate, and most countries will acquiesce to that intimidation. But in this instance, in the atmosphere that we currently have, the world atmosphere, these people have to be a little more sensitive. Exactly. They're being less than sensitive like they are with dumping garbage into the ocean. Yes, yeah. and oil and the likes. Yeah. Because that's the other one I'm concerned about in Cayman. My experience tells me that those discharge valves should be locked.
Okay. We have a caller. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Rambo, am I on?
Hey, Rambo. Morning. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to the guests.
Morning.
Yeah.
Morning, Rambo.
Yeah, right here, man. I got to be today as usual, right? The opposition, the government, right? You guys need cluster and congregate together, right? We can't be deserted. Listen, globally, the vast spectrum displaying their temperaments, their manner, or reacting excessively. Okay? And right now, it came on now, at this time of era, nationwide, right? We should be cultivating crops, bread kinds, even the herbs for alternative revenue, right? And it may sound incongruous, right? Not logical or inappropriate, but how it is, the reality check. Right? Differently, my intuition and baselining and norming, live and learn. Gentlemen, have a good day.
Thank you very much, Rambo. Thank you very much for that advice. One of our listeners has written in and said, St. Lucia has an interesting approach to the COVID-19 issue. They have passed new legislation and they are planning to use one of their small islands for quarantine, which was used for the smallpox outbreak many years ago. We don't have that luxury here in terms of quarantine. But one of the things that the chief medical officer and the medical officer for health has also advised on and expressed their view on is self-isolate as well. If you have a cold, if you feel something coming on, then you should self-isolate and maybe self-isolate as far as, families are concerned as well. Because if there is a massive outbreak, there's no question that we don't really have the facilities to, to accommodate everyone.
Nobody around the world has the
Not
facilities
exactly.
to accommodate
Yes.
everyone in their country. But just going back to what the caller said, and I'm actually glad he raised it in terms of, from what I understand, in terms of our own growing our own agricultural products. I have long held the belief, and I could be wrong, I don't have the resources to prove otherwise yet, but I somehow believe that many of these cancers we have is coming from a lot of the food that we imported. Growing up, I don't remember there's so many cancer cases, and some of them being so aggressive, and I would really and truly like to see a study done one of these days in terms of, what is really driving some of our cancer rate that we have. We're all born with the cancer cells and everything, so anything can trigger it, but for whatever reason, some of these have just really been a little bit too much, and I would really like to see that done. Sorry. Mr. Lee, there's something you wanted to say?
Yeah. I believe that, like Chris, that we need to look towards home. I recall there was a time in my lifetime when 95% of what was consumed here was grown here.
Up to the 70s, we had only imported only 30% of what we needed.
Yeah, but certainly what we need to do is to put more emphasis on it, and encourage people to go into it with incentives, grants,
and subsidies too.
Subsidies, whichever one we chose to do, because I believe because we have become so sophisticated so quickly, we needed all of that stuff from elsewhere, where it can be sourced in a short period of time. But I also believe that the potential is here for this country to be self-sustained and self-sufficient in certain aspects of produce, mangoes, bananas, plantains, that kind of stuff. And there's nothing wrong with importing other ones, but you have to consume what is here first. I believe what our biggest problem is the labor cost is driving the price of the produce up. And there are many people who do farming for subsistence, and many who are commercially involved in it. But still, we are not paying enough attention to it, and I'm glad that Rambo talked about that. We need to pay closer attention to it, and put more emphasis on it, and spend more. I'm not saying it don't have to be financial. Spend more time concentrating on it. And I believe we can be better off, because when we look at the way people are concerned about their health now, the supermarkets can't get the local stuff fast enough when it's gone. And despite the cost of it. And that sends volumes. Right in East End, there are still people who do their little grounds and stuff to supplement their own income and to sustain their families. And North Side, to a lesser extent, other places, but Kimmonbrack as well. And I believe we can do more. We can do more, and we should be doing more.
Yeah, sorry, just going back to the topic that we were discussing prior to, in terms of the Cruise Association. Yes. I think it's important now for the Caymanian public to get an idea of just how, I don't use the word thin skin, but I can't find a better word at this point, these cruise ships are. And can you imagine if we had that multi-million-dollar dock out there that we were expecting the cruise lines to bring passengers here to help us to pay for it? Recognizing that, you look at how common you have, every 10 years or so, you have these major health issues, whether it be SARS or Ebola or whatever, and how quick they are to basically disregard the views of the local populace and for their own profit. That's how fickle these guys are, or thin-skinned these guys are. if we were in bed with them and we were dependent on their passengers to come to help us pay for that dock, do you know what would have happened in terms of you lose 1 week of revenues? And for me, what I'm more interested in about is the people who depend on that as a living. And I think this is where we, going back to the whole issue of having the development economic stimulus, is that we have something in place for those workers who would be affected from that standpoint. You know, those Caymanian workers, I mean, the tour operators, the drivers and everything. And for the surplus that we're running right now, I would have no issues in terms of setting aside additional funds, at least to help those families during this period, because ultimately it is their livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they have families, they have children, they have mouths to feed. You know what I mean? And at the same time, too, just to make sure that we don't have some unscrupulous business people who try to take advantage of the current situation with the price gouging and everything else. So there are a lot of stuff that needs to be monitored, and hopefully we'll reach out to the government today, see if we can have a meeting sometime next week and start looking at different things that we can all support.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. We have 3 callers on hold, and I promise those callers that we will take your calls as soon as we return from this short commercial break.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, formerly known as Professional Pharmacy, would like to thank the Cayman communities for their loyal support these past 18 years. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care. Thorough background checks and follow-up consultations is only the beginning. Your safety is our concern. Our staff are respected healthcare professionals whose job requires careful and precise calculations. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, where we prepare to provide exceptional care. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we care about your health.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on ensuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Rotary Club Central, in association with the Cayman Islands Health Services Authority, HSA, present Health Check 2020. Free health check, free mini medical consultation, diabetes, hypertension, and much, much more. Saturday, March 7, 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Nurses, doctors, Rotarians in service to you. The Rotary Health Check 2020 at A.L. Thompson's, Foster's Airport and Countryside, Foster's Republics, and Camana Bay. Costs you less. And Hurley's Supermarket. You may save your life. Rotary Central Health Check 2020. Your life, your health. Rotary, connecting the world.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to the phone lines as promised. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to your guests.
Good morning, Ram.
Good morning.
It's so good to hear you all back on the radio. Interesting, very interesting. I think more of this should go on because this coronavirus is not sparing anyone or any particular nation. Now, I am wondering, and I've seen it, and I'm wondering how much precaution are we really, really taking? I've seen in some of the supermarkets, people come from their cars, they don't wipe their hands or anything, walk in the supermarket, and they go to the fruit stand, and they sample the green grapes, put their hand down in the black grapes, put their hands down in the red grapes, and it just goes on, and then they might decide to buy it. Then I'm wondering, the supermarkets now have as you all know, security. How much can security, what are they allowed to do? What are they allowed to say to these people that are doing that? I also see that people take their children, put the children in their cart and hand them an apple or hand them some grapes or hand them some cupcakes, things like that. And it's very, very slack on the supermarket part of it. It's very slack on management part of it. And I know because I shop for 3 different people free of cost. They're elderly and they can't get out there. It is not enough information about this. We don't want to frighten the people, but just the other day when we stopped that cruise ship from coming in here, down here to the supermarket was jam-packed with people buying all different kinds of sanitary things. Yet, I do not see, and I know other people see it too, the cashiers using anything, the people with the carts to replace the carts, they don't have gloves. I see hotel workers, the same thing. What we need out there is people from the medical profession that can check on the hotels and condos and supermarkets to see that they're doing the right thing, or it's only 65, 70,000 of us that don't spare anybody. It's just like this. It's all about money. But when, God forbid, if it hits here, I don't think that the hospital is the right place to have a person or people isolated. I don't think so, because you get sick, you go to the hospital. What part of that hospital that is big enough to isolate people, away from it, away from other people? No. I beg you guys to get down on the hotels. Mr. Moses need to do more with tourism.
Caller, we're going to ask you to, if you can abbreviate it. You're repeating yourself there a little bit, and we have 3 other callers lined up.
We're not doing enough. I thank you. Thank you for all your time, and good morning to all of you there.
Thank you very much, caller. I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond. Let's take a few more calls first. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Coroner.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
What I want to speak to is Arden.
Okay.
You remember in the olden days, everything was natural. All the farming, the food you eat, everything, all natural. Well, what I got to say about that is when you eat natural, your body is kept up to date. Your body, your immune system is built up. And sickness, if you hardly hear of anyone with cancer or anything in those days. I'm 72 years of age, and I have no aches or no pains or anything. And I thank Christ for that. And why I'm saying this, I've been an herbal doctor for 35 years, and government pay no attention to it because I've been curing cancer from patients in the Georgetown Hospital. I've been curing AIDS victims from Georgetown that working at Georgetown HSA in the office there. Doing nothing about it. Anyway, you all have a good day. I will keep listening.
Thank you very much, caller. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, morning. I'm just able to join the conversation, so I don't know if anyone has called in on this issue as yet. But it's not on the coronavirus. It actually has to do with the airport runway.
Okay.
Now, last night I was heading to Foster's supermarket, and as I turned on the roundabout right there by Mango Tree heading towards Foster's, British Airways was on the runway turning around. My windows were partially down, and I was blinded by the blowback that I had to pull off the road to avoid getting in an accident last night. And then there was a red truck behind me that had to do the same thing. So that's dangerous right there.
And when you say the blowback, it was actually debris that the was created or just breeze?
No, I'm thinking it was coming from the piles of whatever it is that they have there on the runway for the repairs that they're doing. But that's a serious hazard, and that is going to potentially cause a bad accident right in there. Because it got so bad into my eye last night, I was pulled off on the side of the road for the longest while before I could get both my eyes clear, and my windows weren't even down halfway. They were barely down. And then when I got home that I turned on the car light, there was so much mess that came into my car. It was unbelievable.
Okay.
That
is something
to be looked into.
You know what that is where they had that imported aggregate.
Yes.
And now they're moving it. And,
So
they have dug up the grass, and it's just bare, and that's what's causing that. Maybe they need to ask. I'll talk to.
Yeah, someone needs to talk to
Albert.
Civil Aviation about
Maybe
that.
they need to turn the other way so that the back of the plane goes towards Rex Reagan
Okay,
Building.
yes. Caller, I want to thank you very much for that. And Mr. McLean will speak to someone at Civil Aviation or Cayman Airports Authority in relation to that as well.
Yeah, one sir, I just want to add one thing on that, because I mean to get a 767 to move, I mean, I think they take off anywhere from about 150 to 180 miles per hour. But to get that plane moving takes a lot of force. And anything, I know in some places you see like the blast, you go to some airports, you'll actually see the blast walls there or something. So, I mean, to have that and then all the debris, it is,
And
that's
you know
actually
what?
quite dangerous.
It may be that bell on the end of the airstrip is to the north, so they have to come down straight and then turn to the right to be able to turn all the way around. Okay. And I don't know if the bell is on the south side next to Rex Reagan Building.
Yeah.
Okay, we still have a caller on hold, Miss Susan. One more caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Am I speaking to Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Oh, right on. Someone Caribbean and black and smart talk back to me. All right. Right on. Not against anybody else, but let's get this straight. You guys are talking about, and this is the Caribbean, right? I'm supposed to be able to say that. But anyway, you guys, I heard you talking about the cancer thing. I'm 50 odd years of age. I'm Caymanian, humbly speaking, over 8 generations, both sides of the family, and I mean that respect to everybody else. But just to clear what I'm saying, I'm old enough to know that I remember the first cancer case I saw was one of my cousins, and that was in I think it was mid 70s. I'm not going to mention his name, respect to him, but they said he had 2 years to live, and that we attributed that cancer case coming down to the mosquito spray. I think it was kumquat or something they were spraying the mosquito truck, which later on, anyone doing a little research, that particular form of spray they was using at first was changed. The chemicals supposedly were changed in that because they realized it was a cancer-causing agent. A lot of people didn't realize what they were doing. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the 70s, mid-70s. Like you guys said, who's the other gentleman in there with you?
Aaron McLean.
Oh, my God, the great. All right, respect, sir. Respect.
No problem.
Yes, sir, respect, sir. Morning, sir. And the thing is, and you guys will know who you're talking to very shortly if you don't already. This is Cayman, We know who each other are normally, good or bad, humbly speaking. Hope I'm on the good side. But the thing is, we all had grounds. We all ate good food. another story. Long story short, my family unfortunately split up. We moved away, just like a lot of other families. I ended up moving away for a while, and I have to go away and try to help watch out for my sister and stuff. When I was young, that was my reason, because I was supposed to stay here and watch out for the damn boats, which I probably should have. But anyway, so we went up to stay. So I learned a lot up there, fortunately. I learned more here than I did the whole time I was up there. That's what I learned. And one of the things I learned is we ate great food. We ate good food. We ate all natural foods and stuff. We were really strong people, very strong people. I prided myself on the lineage that I came from here. Mr. Arden comes from the same lineage, different family, the same type of lineage, top bred seamen, humbly speaking. And then when we made it according to try to breed like-minded species, which right now, it's definitely gone out the window. If you look around, half the Cayman you see right now.
Caller, do you have a point? Because we're getting close to a commercial break in about less than a minute.
Yes, sir. Anyway, we had a strong society going here, all right? And even when I lived in the States, up until the early, mid-'80s, even majority of Americans have realized organic, man, organic, natural, organic. And they're trying to go towards, and Caucasians are trying to go towards ethnic food. Because traditionally, we already ate garlic. We already ate ginger in our food traditionally in all these seasons and spices. And it wasn't just for taste, it's also for health, all right? So, I think it's just ridiculous that Cayman is going such a Burger King, McDonald's type of Wendy's generation, because even people in the States have been putting that aside since the darn 80s when I was an early teenager. So we really, and you said people think they're being modern, they're really being so much more backwards without realizing it. And your average foreigner that comes here from England or America that is a decent society person, and that is regardless of financial class, knows about health. Okay, and people are interested in health. Everyone knows that the health companies are literally making money off of entrusting these foods with all these cancer-causing agents. And by the way, I'm not saying this on purpose. Any genetic scientist, and I have many Caucasian friends that will tell you a lot of these things are majorly anti-melanin.
Caller, I want to thank you very much for that. We've reached that commercial break that I spoke to you about. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Insurance is complicated. Make your life easier and better protected with comprehensive financial solutions from FIS Insurance Brokers, with plans from life, health, property insurance, motor, public liability, and professional liability insurance. Whether you're protecting your family or your business, leave nothing to chance. Understand your options and protect yourself for the future. Speak to your FIS Insurance Broker agent today, located on Shedden Road by MoneyGram, or call 623-5616.
You're invited to listen in on Sunday at 3 p.m. on Radio Cayman, when you can hear a repeat broadcast of the CI Retro Talk Today presentation, which aired on Friday, February 28th, when we bring you the second in the 3-program series on the path to the Cayman Islands' first constitution in 1959, Cayman Islands politics and governance. This program will focus on the origins and development of political parties in the Cayman Islands, and is being brought to you by the Ministry of Health, Environment, Housing, and Culture. They are always working diligently to protect, promote, and advance the sustainability of our health, environment, housing, culture, history, and heritage, the knowledge of which is important to planning the path forward. That's coming up on Sunday at 3 p.m. on Radio Cayman.
Rotary Club Central, in association with the Cayman Islands Health Services Authority, HSA, present Health Check 2020. Free health check, free mini medical consultation, diabetes, hypertension, and much, much more. Saturday, March 7, 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Nurses, doctors, Rotarians in service to you. The Rotary Health Check 2020 at A.L. Thompson's, Foster's Airport and Countryside, Foster's Republics, and Kamana Bay. Costs you less. And Hurley's Supermarket. You may save your life. Rotary Central Health Check 2020. Your life, your health. Rotary, connecting the world.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, MLA Mr. Christopher Saunders and the Honorable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition. One of our listeners has written in and said, good morning. Hearing comments about the aircraft blast, I wonder if they could put a cover over the rocks or aggregate temporarily until it is used or moved. Mr. McLean.
Well, remember, we weren't hearing these complaints when the aggregate was there. Mm-hmm. It is now that they're moving it.
So the complaints are there and nobody was actually saying anything. Maybe, so I think we just need to look at the overall thing. And it was a 777. So
right. Yeah. But them disturbing the ground that was there before. Remember, it was all grass,
Yes.
And you didn't get any dust out of that. Mm-hmm. And
if you have to scoop that up with a bucket, then you're going to create
you make it bare then. Yes. And that's what has happened up there. I noticed it, but I didn't think that the blast from the planes would go that far to do it. But that's true, because that's what, 200-300 feet? 300 maybe. And
force.
That's why the plans now are to put a blast deflector at the end of the runway. That's what's going to happen, when they extend it, they're going to put a blast deflector. You see them at all the airports with the concave blast deflector, deflector, sorry. So we don't have that there. But that's probably, over that is there, you could put a cover and that would suffice that, I guess. But.
So one of the things I wanted to touch on the previous caller, just before we went on a break, was speaking about was the MRCU. And one of the things that has really boggled my mind is when you look at the original staff that was employed at MRCU that used to work with the chemicals, the amount of them that actually had gotten cancer was actually, I think, except for maybe one. And I would tease him about, I think it was all the rum he had in his system. That probably, who that probably is. And he's probably listening to know what I'm speaking about. But, I mean, barring him, I think...
Everyone.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you remember Austin Dad, my uncle, my brother-in-law, Alvin.
We had a gentleman by the name of Pingy from Georgetown, but Pingy, I think Pingy may have died simply of old age.
Yeah, but Pingy wasn't as involved in the.
He used to be on the truck with the spray trucks.
Yeah, but I don't know if mixing it and all that.
Those days, Pingy even was the head of Mr. Harris in terms of it. I remember.
But I remember Mr. Harris very well, and Mr. Harris was very aggressive. Now, Mr. Harris was the one who went aboard the planes and sprayed and in the containers. He was very active. And then, we had a number of them from East End that has passed as a result of cancer. I can't attribute it to that.
I know, but Robert Paul is the only one that I know that's 75 the other day. His birthday was, I think, a few days after
February. It's in February.
And 75 and still going. I'm like...
Well, I tell you what, you can't... Anyway.
Yeah. We have two callers. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to accommodate both callers before the 9 o'clock headline news, but we're going to try. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good morning. I didn't know if I was on or not.
Yes, you are.
Good morning to you, Mr. O.C. Good morning to
Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Good morning to the MLA or MP, Mr. Chris Saunders. Hopefully it will soon be in effect. MP.
Morning, my brother.
Morning.
Yes, sir.
Oh, by the way,
Well,
before you
yeah.
go any further, I would like to say something to you. I met your sister first time last week before last. What a wonderful young lady.
Oh, no, yeah.
I believe that's her name. Yeah.
Yeah,
She has She was in Canada or something.
Yes, she lived
Okay.
in Canada for several years.
But she
When that's up there, we lived with them. We've always been a close family.
yeah, she
brothers.
she younger than you.
Well,
Michael, don't go there. Don't go there, Michael.
So, to my brother Ernest and myself, we just laugh and say yes. Let's leave it at that because a lot of people know our ages.
Yeah. All right. I was just jabbing you then.
Nobody believes. I won't say her age. My mother was very similar. That no one believed my mother's age. So, of course, there's a photograph of my mother, Peter St. James, on the third floor. She's very close to 88, and no one believes that. I tell them what she was in that photograph of my mother. That's a dear mother. Yes, but you're quite right. They should install blast shields, I think they call them, but a deflector would be a better name for it, the blast deflectors. But, it has to come. I really thought that the extension of the airport, best place for that to be, of course, is in the North Sound. But anyhow, I guess that will come in the future. Can't go very far to the west. The thing with the coronavirus and so forth, we have to realize that we have to leave these things in the hands of professionals. It's nice for us to all have a say and say we should do this. If we were to take the advice of 50 or 60 different people, you'd really get nowhere with it. And we have to be trustful in the people who we have appointed to positions in there. I know people will err, and that's human, and we cannot be perfect. You'll never find perfection on this earth. You'll find it in heaven, but not here. And so I think we have to trust their judgment that they're doing the best that they possibly can. The last thing in the world we must do is panic. The SARS thing was a big scare, and the swine flu also a big scare, but they will overcome these things. They'll find vaccines to, if it mightn't cure it, it would nullify it and so forth. It will happen during the course of it very soon. I'm sure many great scientists are working on that right now. Yes, we need to be careful. We need to obey all these things. We need to wash hands and things. But as long as we're alive, these things are going to happen. And more people by far die from the common flu every year than die from this. So I just like to say something else regards to this type of thing. I noticed there are ads, or if you call them ads, or some kind of advice on the radio stations saying to us that we should be preventing money laundering and terrorist financing. Those things are left to professionals. And to ask people to say, look out if you see this one, maybe driving 3 Mercedes-Benzes in the family, maybe having a $2 million house, okay? That is for a professional to judge. We do not have a direct income tax here. There's no IRS to check on these things or whatever they call in other countries called United States. Just look and see how a person can see that he's only earning $88,000 a year and living like a person earning $4 million. That's what the income tax services do. They check on these things and know that when you make up your returns, it's falsified. And that's how they catch people and find out people. We don't have that system here, but they ask us to do that. There are professional lawyers and accountants here who are hiring and paying a lot of money to do these things because people could get themselves into a lot of trouble on lawsuits trying to do this. I'm very, very concerned about this. I don't know if it bothers anyone else or I'm just saying that I don't think that that we should really try to tell people to do these things. Another thing I'd like to ask, gentlemen.
Very quickly, caller, because we're almost there.
Is the Speaker of the House a member of government, or is he independent and a part of the Parliament and not a member of government? As I think there was some report come out as a senior member of government. Mm-hmm. I just wondered about that.
Certainly.
Is the Speaker a member of government? Is that the official position? Thank you very much for listening to what
Thank you very much, caller, as well. And we will have our panelists answer that question when we return. And we still have another caller on hold as well. We're going to ask that caller to hang in there. Headline news is very, very short, and we will be back immediately after that.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news.
Access.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
The Ministry of Health, Public Health Department, and the Management of the Health Services Authority are in a high state of preparedness for the coronavirus COVID-19. As of March 5th, there were no cases in the Cayman Islands. The chief medical officer says with confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Florida, the Dominican Republic, and St. Bart, concerns among local residents are real. He's encouraging residents to use preventative measures such as washing hands regularly and avoiding others with respiratory illnesses. He also encourages you to keep your distance from people to a minimum of 3 feet, preferably 6, and have a household and family plan to help slow the spread of the disease. A cruise ship carrying 3,500 people is waiting off the coast of California while tests for coronavirus are carried out on about 100 of them. One passenger died and at least 4 others became infected on a previous voyage by the ship the Grand Princess. Test kits were delivered by military helicopter Thursday as the vessel sat off San Francisco. The U.S. has now recorded 200 cases and 12 deaths as the global struggle with the virus continues. That's your latest news. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We still have one caller on hold, I believe. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Thanks for being so patient.
Morning, gentlemen. How's it going? It's Johan Moxham.
Good morning, Mr. Moxham.
We're stuck in traffic here, so I think you guys are going to be given a good opportunity to answer these questions in depth. I'll just jump straight into it. I've been late getting onto the radio this morning, listening into your show. I was just wondering, I heard a lot of other sort of topics covered, but has the topic of the speaker's position in the LA been discussed? Also, has the topic of Mr. Bryant's removal from the opposition been discussed? Because I have 2 questions on that. Can the opposition members enlighten the public as to what exactly transpires next if they aren't able to get a special meeting in the LA, if they can't get a 2/3 majority? Are we saying as a country, and are our leaders saying that technically any leader can behave in a particular manner where they're alleged to have assaulted persons, especially a woman, and unless they're convicted, then they remain in that position? Because how do the outside world then take or give respect to the holders of that office if that is the position collectively the 19 members take? That's the first question. The second question would be, and again in the spirit of equality, to be alleged to assault a woman or to beat a woman is wrong on any level. I don't care who you are. I think it's just a question of right and wrong. It's not really politics in my mind. It's just wrong. But had the incident involved a male patron or a male employee, it would be just as wrong. So I don't want it to become we're suddenly conscious now because a woman was alleged to have been assaulted, and that's based on the apology of the speaker, that something transpired. We don't really know the specifics of it, but we know something bad happened there. So what is the position of the opposition members on domestic violence, on violence in general as a holder of public office? And the third final question, in light of Mr. Bryant's departure from the opposition, will this be his final chance in the opposition, or does he get to perhaps come back in, but because his position is very different from theirs, he's now persona non grata until the end of the term? So those three questions. Thank you very much, gents. Have a great day.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller. We have a voice note as well, Miss Susan. No voice note at this point in time, gentlemen. Responses to all of the callers.
Which one you want to start with?
Wherever you want to.
We going back to what Micah was saying? Or we want to just do this?
I think we covered.
Okay, I think Mr. Moxham was asking,
right?
And I'm paraphrasing here, about moving forward.
Oh yeah, we did have a question from Mr.
Micah,
Mr. Hurlson, yeah, in relation to whether or not the speaker is a part of the government or not.
Well, first thing is,
and that is whether or not he's speaking of the speaker's position as opposed, I think you may want to explain both, this position of speaker as opposed to the individual who currently holds the post. Well, because the speaker, the position of speaker is a part of the legislative assembly.
Yep.
And it's an impartial post that is held there to protect not only the rights of the government, but also to protect the rights of the opposition. At the same time, we know that the current speaker is a supporter of the current government.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going. Anytime a speaker is chosen from on the inside, in most developed countries like England, what they do is, it doesn't matter which side the person comes from. They decide on who all members believe is the most fair, the most capable, and whatnot to manage that job. In smaller parliaments, it is usually the majority who elects a speaker. In England, all the parties get together, at least the whips, and many people submit their names in England. You may get 10, 12 people submit their names. It could be a
protracted process in terms of choosing the speaker, go through several rounds before they come to an agreement.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But they all come down. Very seldom do you see a vote on the floor in England. Likewise here. We did one, I think, in 2009 here. 2005, we did a vote on the floor. Most times the speaker is appointed unopposed, and in smaller legislatures, you get someone from the majority usually. We would have also, to be fair, we would pick someone from the opposition to be deputy speaker as well. This time we didn't do that. We took both from over on the government bench, because those are bargaining positions that you use during your bargaining to form a government, especially through coalition. In the case here, the speaker is a part of that coalition, but the Speaker is not a part of the actual government. The government is made up of, the executive arm is made up of the unity team, but unity government. But you can't conflate that position, nor the individual, with being a part of the actual government.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to Mr. Johans.
Yeah.
Questions.
I think he was trying to determine if what can be done about it, and if it was a man, would it be viewed as the same thing? Absolutely. In particular, I believe that we have to look at the situation where it is a public position. I heard this thing on the radio the other day about he being a civil servant, that he is entitled to vacation and stuff. There's no such thing.
Yeah, that was debunked.
There's no such thing. We are not, and the Constitution makes it very clear when it speaks of the definition. It says public officer means subject to subsection 2, an officer of emolument in public service. And subsection 2 says, for the purpose of this Constitution, references to public officers shall not be construed as including references of the officer, speaker, deputy speaker, or elected member of the legislative assembly, premier or other ministers, or leader of the opposition. So that is clear. It's not considered a public office. There are a number of things that can be done. There are things that should have been done before that we should not have reached this point. If anyone believes that the most recent Speaker of the House of Commons left on his own accord, they're making a big mistake. He announced his retirement, but all we need to do is go back in memory of when they were doing the votes on Brexit. And his position that he took on that, on the floor of Parliament. Yeah. And, of course, the government could not have a speaker taking such positions.
He compromised his position at that point.
He compromised his position.
He knew it quite well.
So everybody would go to that person and say, listen, here we are. It is your time. You are not going to compromise your position. You're not going to compromise the country. And you have an opportunity here to announce your retirement.
Plus, they threatened that they would run, they would challenge him in his constituency and would run a candidate there.
So they gave him an opportunity to leave gracefully. That is what happens in these parliaments.
And they also denied him appointment as a Lord also.
Absolutely. That was part of the deal. Usually a speaker goes to the House of Lords and falls under the peership.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. These things are not washed or dealt with in public. What should have happened, in our view, is that this should have been dealt with by the government initiating it. In the absence of the government initiating a discussion with us and the Speaker, we had no option. There was no option. If anyone can point to another option that is available, then we will go there. Moving a motion of no confidence in a member or in the Speaker is a very, 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 very serious thing. We should also recognize in this country that the bar for prosecuting someone under the law. And let me make it clear. It has been established a long time ago that we are not immune from prosecution, criminal prosecution. The only thing we're immune from is civil prosecution when we're on our way to the legislature or coming from the legislature. That's the only time that's very clear. We are not immune from prosecution, but there is a separation of powers. So that stays outside of Parliament. The conduct of individuals which would bring that position into disrepute, there are disciplinary measures available to the legislature. And I could give a classic example of that happened right here, and many of us do not even remember it. In 2003, during the Constitution negotiations, Miss Jula was the Speaker. Kurt, Alden, myself, Edna, Mr. Tony, and Lucille, I believe, had a press conference down at Delhi in the conference room. And you have to take this in context, OC, because remember we were on the premises, but then when we look at the other side, it is that the House was not in session. So we're out, in essence, outside of the House having been called into session, which is the same situation here. Kurt and Alden insisted that the Speaker was being instructed by the government. That brought the speakership into disrepute. You're challenging it, and you're suggesting bias. Okay. They asked if I agreed with it, and I said yes, I do. We convened a week and a half, 2 weeks later, and the Speaker called on them to withdraw their statements and apologize. And they both refused, Kurt and Alden. The Premier now, that's when we were in the opposition. And when they refused to apologize or withdraw, she suspended them.
Yeah.
Now, when you're suspended, you must be escorted from the premises, you know. Remember Mr. Truman, in his infinite wisdom, the advent of television in the early 90s saw his government extending the premises to the sidewalks, you know, to protect members of Parliament when they say anything on the television, as long as they're within on those steps.
Within the precincts, yeah.
Yeah.
So the extended precincts, yeah.
Yeah. So Alden and Kurt was escorted off, but remember, in solidarity, we left with them. And they adjourned shortly afterwards to the next sitting, which didn't take place for 2 weeks. But that suspension stayed in place.
Yeah.
And Alden and Kurt couldn't go to the Legislative Assembly, or they would be in contravention of Parliament, in contempt of Parliament. Those are the things that the fact inside there, the bar is much lower because it's the conduct. Outside, the law requires, beyond a shadow of a doubt, to convict someone. In there, it's the conduct of the individuals. Whether it happens in there or it happens outside, that person is in the office. The only alternative we have now is to bring a vote of no confidence and have it debated.
Okay.
That cannot be stopped.
Okay. Susan, we have 3 callers. I believe we're going to try to take... we're going to take a break. When we return, and we're going straight to the phone lines for those callers as well. We still have answers to be made. So at some point in time, we're probably going to cut the phone lines off further down, maybe within the next 20 minutes or so. take a commercial break, and when we're coming back, folks, please stay tuned.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Rotary Club Central, in association with the Cayman Islands Health Services Authority, HSA, present Health Check 2020. Free health check, free mini medical consultation, diabetes, hypertension, and much, much more. Saturday, March 7, 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Nurses, doctors, Rotarians in service to you. The Rotary Health Check 2020 at A.L. Thompson's, Foster's Airport and Countryside, Foster's Republics, and Camana Bay. Costs you less. And Hurley's Supermarket. You may save your life. Rotary Central Health Check 2020. Your life, your health. Rotary, connecting the world.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I want to say to those callers who have been holding for a while, thanks for being so patient. We're going to take your calls now. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, Arden.
Morning, old boy. How you doing?
Arden, thank you for that lesson that you finally gave somebody, and me myself. I recall the occasion, but it wasn't at the forefront of my mind, but you brought it. A few things, if I could indulge a little bit, O.C. Firstly, I don't have any views on the speaker other to say that he was wrong, because I never saw my dad hit my wife, my mother, and my children never saw me hit their mother. So I'm completely against assaulting a woman. But the powers that be will determine what his punishment is. Also, the virus thing, it's, my view on that is leave it to the professionals. So many people have their ideas, but I think the professional people, the doctors and the scientists, they can determine better for me. I just follow the rules.
Yes.
And the last thing I want to say, and I want to remind you, Mr. Connor, that the next meeting of the Seafarers is on the 17th of this month.
17th, okay.
I trust you will be able to make it.
What time?
At 7:30.
7:30? Okay.
Oh, so you went to
I'll put
see?
that in my calendar.
Did you go to COC?
I went for 9 months. That's just enough to make a few trips from Le Havre, France to the Persian Gulf and stopping in South Africa on dry dock on 2 occasions.
Then son, that sound like one up and one down.
11 trips, one up, one down.
One up, one down.
I'm inviting you too, because you can become a member,
Yeah, but then son, please don't call me out on the radio. I have been. It's my fault why I haven't done that. I've been.
I'll make it a point. I'll make it a point to come though, sir. 17th of this month.
And if you could tell Sterling Dwayne too, please.
Okay, we'll do.
But we have something Eastern on the 10th, right?
Well, that's another thing I want to talk about. Arden, you were there. You're going to be there with us on the 10th.
Yes,
Tuesday. And please tell your constituents out there, the members who are seafarers, that the seafarers, instead of them coming to our meeting, we're taking our meeting to them on the 10th. Actually, it's the day after my birthday, and Niels Godfrey's birthday is that day, so he wants to have a surprise party, but I don't know about that. But anyway, if you could tell the older folks there at the Civic Center at 10 o'clock in the morning on the 10th.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to seeing you there. And I look forward to seeing you, OC. I was trying to say good morning to
Chris?
my good friend Chris.
Okay.
But,
No, man, I know you guys deep in your seafaring thing. So
you, Chris, can become a member because your dad went to sea. So
that is true.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then you come along on the 17th and you know what it's all about.
Right.
Well, Denston, I would respectful ask of you to be careful with asking Chris to come join because he'll be like Big Rich. You know what Big Rich told me? He told me he wrung out more salt water out of his socks than I have ever seen.
Question: how did the calendars, the sale of the calendars go? Were you able to get all of them sold?
No, we haven't, but we have very little left. And that particular Friday morning when I spoke to you, we sold 138 that morning.
Oh, great.
So it was fantastic.
Excellent. Thank you very much, sir. And I have made a note already, and I'll put it in my calendar. 7:30 on March 17th, Seafarers.
Tell Sterling Dwayne, please.
Will do. Let's take the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning again, sir.
Yes. Just thank you for your kind words about my sister, Miss McLean. And she did speak very favorably of you, and I'll let her know. You said, yes, Danston, I spent less time than OC. I spent 5 days. Of course, a storm came up, and we had to come back in. I was with my father.
Mikey, you can't even apply for Seaman thing, man.
No, I would never do that. My great father spent 52 years as a seaman and a famous boat builder. He was one of the carpenters on the gold field and many others, and he built Melpomene and sold it to his friend, Captain James Ryan. And of course, we know what happened with Captain Ryan, went down with her to Melpomene. My father built her at the age of 24 with the help of others. And his cousin, Sir Willie Bush, his brother-in-law, actually, Willie Bush. And anyhow, yes, my great father made a story about him. I could tell on one of these days. I promised a lot of people to lay that. David Pinedo, my friend, spent 19 days with him, and I often say to David, he spent more time at sea with a woman than I did. The thing when I asked about the speaker, it was the position. That's why I said, isn't it a member of parliament or officially an official member of parliament? And I'll ask another question and leave that up. But I'd just like to say there was an article about Pedro St. John by Lindsay Turnbull in the Times. I'm not casting anything, Turnbull, but before we say these things, we need to get things right. The document that was brought here by Governor Sligo from Jamaica on May the 2nd, 1835, he left it with Captain Anthony Park from the regiment there, who read it out at different locations. In one was at, of course, Pedro St. John, May the 6th. That document had nothing to do with the abolition of slavery. Slavery was already abolished some 10 months before that. What that document did was end the apprenticeship system here for the 985 slaves in Cayman. That's why it says those who have become apprentices. The slaves were to have worked for free for 4 and 6 years after the abolition, which was exactly at the stroke of midnight, July the 31st, 1834. 1 second after which is the 1st of August. And that's why Jamaica celebrates that day. That apprenticeship system, it was called that to make it more palatable and acceptable to the slaves, rather than saying to them, you're free now, but you got to work for free. For 4 and 6 years, it was termed, you will be apprentices. Well, it ended it here. It wasn't working here for the 985. That's what that document does. I think it's time we get these things right. It went on in Jamaica for the full 4 and 6 years, for the hundreds of thousands of slaves working there on sugar plantations owned by British members of Parliament. Have a wonderful day, gentlemen. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. Can we get 2 minutes? We can grab another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning, OC.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Arden.
Morning.
Good
morning.
Yeah, I quick question. The thing is that should the speaker be a member of any particular group, or should he be an independent person? That's one of the things. The reason why I asked that, because here we are in West Bay. He's got his speakership. He's supposed to represent a certain area of West Bay. West Bay North, Northwest, I think it is, or West, yeah. And how can he do his job for the people of that district when he has all the stuff he's got to do as Speaker of the House? These are some of the things that I think is kind of convoluted in when it comes to people who are elected, because we were supposed to have a district council. That's a part of the new constitution, that we supposed to have a district council and all that. And I've never heard one word from any of the four that were elected down here. But I spoke to him about the speaker about it one day, and he said, "Yeah, he'll see," but nothing has happened. So I don't know what's going on with that. So I'll leave you there, and hopefully somebody can give me an answer.
Thank you very much, caller. We've taken a note of that, and we will have them respond to that as well. We're going to take one more call before the break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Good morning, Doc. How are you?
Pretty good, and good morning to your guests, Honorable Mr. Arden McLean and Mr. Chris Saunders.
Morning, Dr. Mac.
Doctor.
Okay.
Oh.
Gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
This incident at the 7 Mile Beach with the Honorable Speaker of the House, raises some other fundamental constitutional issues. It's not. It is. You have been talking about the vote of no confidence. That is one issue. There is another issue about the unilateral the decision of the Speaker to take a leave of absence from the chair. Now, there are two occasions when a Speaker can not sit in the chair. I'm just using the ordinary language. Orrett Connor talks about the unavoidable absence of the Speaker, and Orrett Connor talks about the unavoidable absence of the Speaker, and that is the occasion where the Speaker has to go on a conference, where the Speaker is ill temporarily, has a cold or something like that and can't come, where there's a death in the family or illness of a friend or a family member, or where the Speaker has to go on a business trip or something like that. Then in those occasions, the Deputy Speaker takes the chair. The Speaker will inform the clerk of his unavoidable absence, and the Deputy Clerk will then take the chair in the place of the Speaker. There's another situation where there's a leave of absence. A leave of absence is not an unavoidable absence. This is what has been announced in London, that the Speaker has taken a leave of absence. Orrett Connor says, and you gentlemen know that's the Bible of Parliament procedure. Orrett Connor says that in that respect, that application has to be before the House, and it has to be on motion moved by a member of the government. So what the Speaker and the Premier have done, if it's with the Premier's permission, is to allow the Speaker to leave the chair unconstitutionally. And that is illegal. There's no constitutional provision for that. You have to come to the House and you have to make the application, and the application has to be by motion moved by the government, and that has to be debated. And of course, the motion has to have all of the reasons why you should have a leave of absence, how long it's going to be, what it's for, and all those things. It has to be precise, and it has to be informative to the House. You cannot unilaterally take a leave of absence because the job does not belong to you. The Speaker is not belongs to the opposition. He's not the property of opposition, or he's not the property of the government. The Speaker, when you elect a Speaker, he is there to do the business of the House. And the business of the House is because the electorate in the Democratic election elected all the members of the House to do the public business, and they elect him to run the House on their behalf. And so the Speaker has, and you can, if I was on the radio the other morning with Mr. Bryan all about this, and they seem not to understand. I don't know if they read the Constitution or if they read it, they do not understand it. But you cannot go to any other jurisdiction and see where a speaker has walked away from the chair on his own initiative and say that that's constitutional. That is not constitutional. It's otherwise of the Constitution, and it's a breach of the duty of the speaker.
Mm-hmm. Doc, I want to thank you very much for that. We've gone way past our break, but we will certainly continue the discussion with our panel, and that what you've said there will certainly come into play as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Baden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS Brack Agency in Cayman Brack. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. 2020 means perfect vision, and if you have your sights set on driving a new hybrid, then the time is now to check out the new RAV4 and CHR. Just 2 of the many hybrid models that Vamped is bringing to Cayman. Whether you're looking for a smoother and quieter way of driving or want a car that maximizes fuel efficiency while minimizing emissions, there are lots of ways a new hybrid from Vamped can make the difference in your life. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries without being plugged in. So focus your 2020 vision on a new hybrid from Vamped Motors, and we will see you through. Come to Vamped, home of the hybrid, located on Walkers Road.
If your business is over here, but your customers are over here, adding more yellow to your business will bring you both right here. With everyone searching yellows, print, online, and mobile app, getting your business noticed is easier than ever. Book your consultation today at findyellow.com.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
I'll close the line. Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have about 24 minutes left, and we still have another commercial break to take during those 24 minutes. Gentlemen, if it is agreeable with you, I propose to close the phone lines off to give you an opportunity to discuss some of the things that the callers have spoken about, and also to discuss the press release that came out yesterday in relation to Mr. Bryan parting, or the opposition group parting ways with Mr. Kenneth Bryan as well. So I'm going to give the mic back over to you, gentlemen. Now we had had we answered all of the questions?
No, we haven't.
Mr. Johan's questions as well about the Speaker's position, Mr. Bryan's removal, and whether or not this was the final chance for Mr. Bryan.
And he also asked what our position is on domestic violence.
Okay,
yes. Our press release speaks for that.
Well, I tell you, domestic violence is a zero tolerance, and anyone who condones it, and I think that was clear within our press release, as Mr. McLean just mentioned. As for rejoining the official opposition, that's not my decision. But in life, I've learned just never to say never. What I can say is that there are some things I will never compromise, and that's just my position. When it comes on to politics has always been about ideas, ideals, and ideology. And at the end of the day, you, as Arden said, this business requires very strong personalities. And it also requires some level of compromise to some extent. But at the same time, every one of us arrive with certain core values that we know we're just not going to change. There's some things I'm just not going to compromise on. And for me, this is just one of them. I grew up in a household. There was 7 of us in the family. My dad, myself, and my mother and 4 sisters. So a family of 7, 5 women. I mean, I look at my own aunt. She retired. And in her post-retirement, she went back to school and get her degree. So I grew up in a family, OC, with very strong women. And when I saw the response from a lot of women in this whole incident, it moved me differently. I mean, people who have never been involved in the political process before, and just say, Chris, we vote for you, we trust you to do certain things. When those people start calling you up and putting certain things in context to you, and then at the same time recognizing I also have a daughter, and I know from my time in the corporate world that as a female she's going to have certain challenges already. I mean, we already have an economy where women don't even get paid as much as men do. I mean, the discrimination and the gender bias of women is well documented. And what we have seen now in today's environment is that for people who got away with it for years are now being held to account. You see Bill Cosby, you see Harvey Weinstein, and back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, some of these behaviors may have been accepted or not spoken about. Today, those people are saying, you know what, you may have gotten away with it then because society wasn't prepared to deal with it now. Society is prepared to deal with it now. And some behaviors are just not tolerable in 2020, 2018, 2019, and beyond. And that's the reality of where we are. And at the end of the day, this for me was also very personal. I mean, politics aside, everyone knows my relationship with the speaker. I can tell you I went to visit him. And at the end of the day, we also have the task as political leaders to uplift Caymanians regardless of where they are. I mean, we have people who go to prison, they pay their debt to society, they pay their dues, and they come back out and they still can't get a job. We have the responsibility of trying to make sure that those people once rehabilitated has been able to become back members of society. Unfortunately, in a small country, people remember a lot of stuff that you do, but for us, these are things that we need to be able to look past, because at the end of the day, our job is to uplift all Caymanians regardless of what. And anyone can make a mistake. I mean, let's establish that. I'm not without blame. I'm not without fault. And I'm sure many people feel the same way. Mm-hmm. So from that standpoint, I do understand. But at the same time, I can say to you, OC, as a political leader, that, it's one thing when you campaign. And what I can say, there are 2 things that politics have adjusted for me personally. Is one, it has improved my relationship with God. Because if you didn't need God before, you need Him now. Because when you do inside this business here, you need a higher force or something to call on. And 2, it is one of the loneliest of positions you have. Because let me tell you, you can sit down, you can listen to every single person and what they have to say. But when you sit inside that chair, you realize that it is no longer Chris, the private citizen, or Arden, the private citizen. It is a member for Bordentown West. It is a member for East End. And it is the voice of those people that we serve, that we represent. There are some things I can tell you I have a personal view on that is a little bit more different than some of my constituents. But from speaking to them, I know what the majority feelings are. And that is what I was elected to represent, their feelings. Leadership requires that if I do disagree with them, I can say, well, I disagree with you, and here's why. And we can have that debate, we can have that. But I am there to represent what the people of Bordentown West want me to represent. It's not about me. No, they've elected me to exercise certain judgments on certain things, and that is what I will do, and that is what I'll continue to do. So bringing it back to this issue, it's having my own family chat group, I mean my cousins and everybody, and the position that they have taken on it. I mean, I can tell you, I gave this a lot of thought. This cost me sleep, and at the end of the day, I believe as political leaders, just as though there are some things I used to do, I had to stop doing, and it's just one of the things that office demands. There is no set rules or behavior within the Constitution. I mean, if you look at the deals with the legislature, It just said there should be a legislator to pass laws of peace, order, and good government. You know, we have to regulate ourselves in terms of what we see as acceptable conduct. And anyone going out and drinking to the point where they passed out, or whatever it is that they did that leads them to pass out in a public environment, where you could have been driving or anything else, I mean, that is something that we need to look at. You know, and I think at the end of the day, I would tell anybody this much: if the day that reaches Chris ever, God forbid, reaches that position, you're not gonna have that discussion with me, because someone can play back where Chris can say, "No, it's time for me to resign." If I can't maintain a certain standard, that try to my best to lead as an example life. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to be a better person. You know what I mean? Aaron can tell you, you go, Chris, what are you drinking? Give me a bottle of water. He can tell you that. You know what I mean? And so these are the personal sacrifices we take, and we have two choices, OC, as elected representatives. Either we choose to rise up and elevate ourselves to the office that we're privileged to serve, or we bring the office down to that level. Now, as I said to my colleagues the Tuesday morning, I am the first elected representative for Bordentown West. I mean, I don't know what the future may hold, if that district may pass away and something is renamed. But I am not prepared as the current post holder of this position to tarnish it or lower it down for the next person coming behind. Because I want somebody to come in and say, you know what, Chris did this is the level Chris set, I want to rise above this, or at least this is the minimum standard that we expect. And that for me, that is the decision. And I can tell you, if it was anybody in opposition that did that, I would have had the same position. And the message that needs to be sent here is that, I mean, I look at my colleague, I love him, I think his heart is in the right place. I think this is just a difference of judgment in terms of how we see things. But I will say this much. The message that we want to send, and I think we have sent it, is that if this is how we treat somebody who take a different view on a particular topic, can you imagine how we actually would treat the person who actually did a particular thing? When I say zero tolerance, because I can tell you one thing, this for me is pretty much a no-brainer. You know what I mean? And there are some behaviors that we have accepted in this country for too long within our political leaders that we need to stop. We need to start expecting more. You know what I mean? And hopefully this is the culture, this is the environment where people can start looking back and say, you know, it is not acceptable for their political leaders to behave certain ways and engage in certain activities. We chose this, you know. No one came and asked us, we chose this. You know,
nobody held any gun to my head. Yep. And OC...
What we're going to do, let's just take the quick break, and then after that, we will cover everything. Ms. Susan, we'll just take our last break now. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
2020 means perfect vision. And if you have your sights set on driving a new hybrid, then the time is now to check out the new RAV4 and CHR. Hold up. Just two of the many hybrid models that Vamped is bringing to Cayman. Whether you're looking for a smoother and quieter way of driving or want a car that maximizes fuel efficiency while minimizing emissions, there are lots of ways a new hybrid from Vamped can make the difference in your life. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries without being plugged in. So focus your 2020 vision on a new hybrid from Vamped Motors, and we will see you through. Come to Vamped, home of the hybrid, located on Walkers Road.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Rotary Club Central, in association with the Cayman Islands Health Services Authority, HSA, present Health Check 2020. Free health check, free mini medical consultation, diabetes, hypertension, and much, much more. Saturday, March 7, 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Nurses, doctors, Rotarians in service to you. The Rotary Health Check 2020 at A.L. Thompson's, Foster's Airport and Countryside, Foster's Republics, and Kamanabe. Costs you less. And Hurley's Supermarket. you may save your life. Rotary Central Health Check 2020. Your life, your health. Rotary, connecting the world.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning with MLA Mr. Christopher Saunders and the Honourable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition. Before you speak, Mr. McLean, just one comment that came in regards to the airport runaway, and this person says it's not from the rocks. They are now stocking up sand or fine rocks where the big rocks were. Oh. That's what's happening.
I haven't been
there
through
now.
there in a
I haven't
couple
seen
days.
it. I've been there through there either. But back
Oh,
to you now,
yeah,
Mr.
I noticed that from over by Jose. You're right. Yeah, now that I think of that.
So they say that's what's causing it.
That's why that lady was almost blinded by it, suffocated by it. That's that fine sand.
Okay.
Or quarter dust something.
Yep. So
see, let me go back briefly to this thing that Mr. Moxham called in, that if Kenneth is out for good, that's up to Kenneth. The press release says that the majority of the opposition members were not prepared to caucus with him any longer on this matter. That's up to Kenneth,
But if he comes back, will there be certain conditions that he will come back under?
Well, there were conditions before.
Okay. And
how long do you expand conditions? How many times do you expand them even further? And I don't want to be disrespectful to Kenneth in any way. He's a colleague. I got to live with him. He's Caymanian. I got to live with him. But the fact remains that Kenneth is conflating these issues and is not seeing the bigger picture and the responsibility the Speaker has over us, the authority he has, or the speakership has over the Parliament, including the government. And it's about conduct, and it's about practices.
Because he regulates the debate in the Legislative Assembly?
Absolutely, and it must be beyond reproach. And any diversion from that must be challenged. The Speaker's position is never challenged while we're in there, because if you challenge it, you could be pushed. I challenged Miss Mary, and I was suspended. She wanted me to withdraw a statement I said about the Premier. That is now the current Speaker. And I said I'm not withdrawing it because it was reported in the papers and there was no retraction to it. And she said if I didn't withdraw, she was suspending me. She suspended me. Then we turned to Al, our colleague Al. He read from a letter from China Harbour. And the Speaker, the current Speaker, this was in Kimon Bragg, told him to withdraw it. And he said no. Now, when we came back to Cayman, because this was in Kimon Bragg, right. When we came back to Cayman, we extended that meeting. So we were sitting in Cayman. We were sat in two places, right? We didn't adjourn.
Suspension carried over.
Carried over to Cayman. Well, the suspension was carried out here. Most people don't know this. This was September. It was and this Speaker called. He had the authority to suspend for one sitting. A meeting is the duration of those sittings. Yes, yeah. A sitting is each day. He has that authority. Anything over and above that, for a member to be suspended, the House must vote thereon. Mm-hmm. Okay?
And what do you need, 2/3?
No. Simple majority.
Simple majority? Okay.
Yeah. So he invited the Premier, this Premier, to move a motion to suspend Al for not withdrawing a statement, and the Premier acquiesced. It was politics, pure politics. They voted to suspend Al, and we voted against it. Al was suspended for one sitting, which is the purview within the purview of the Speaker, because the Speaker must have some authority over the members when they don't adhere to the rule of
Let's
the
get
chair.
to the Speaker's suspension or Speaker's leave now.
Well, the Speaker's leave is illegal. You know, we keep saying we don't have any code of conduct. Well, I would draw people's attention to Standing Orders 88, where it says, and I'm paraphrasing, I can read it, but I'm paraphrasing, if we don't have any conventions or practice here, we turn to
Erskine May.
Erskine May, the house, the practice of the House of Commons in Northern Ireland. And their code of conduct is there, so we can have it. The Speaker in Erskine May, which is, I only have the 24th edition.
Yes.
There's 25, but they're £600 a piece too.
I was going to say that. They're pretty expensive.
I have bought about 4 of them, you see.
Yeah.
So
the other thing with that too, just for the benefit of our audience, some people refer to it Erskine Mays. There's no S on the end. It is Erskine May.
that's the name of an individual.
Yeah,
you know. He was a clerk of the House of Commons.
Exactly, and he wrote that. So it's not Mays, it's Erskine May.
Right. And so it requires them to... Now, we're going to give you a classic example of the practice within this country. During the 2000 to 2003 government, 2003 government, Linford was the member for Works, the minister. Linford had a serious medical problem. He was off to Miami. He was there for about 2 months, over 2 months, I believe. But and they were filling in for him.
Yeah.
But the premier came down there, the leader of government business at the time, who's now the Speaker, came down there and notified Parliament, you know. In essence, we didn't vote on it, but we were notified in a statement that he would be off for extended leave. Now, this premier, and if I was there, he's there, because the two of us got elected the same day. This premier has unilaterally decided that the speaker can take a leave of absence. Now, this premier is guilty of doing such. I move the motion in Finance Committee, which is comprised of the whole House. Unanimous support for government not to purchase any more advertisements on Cayman Compass. He and his colleagues unilaterally changed it without the consent of the legislature. So this is continuous practice over and over and over by this government. You cannot do that. Because you have the majority, you cannot, by might, hold the opposition and the minority down. That is why that provision is there for 7 of us to be able to do it, to protect the minority. And the Speaker is saying that he has discretion. Discretion what?
Okay. If I may very quickly, I have heard that the current speaker, has said that any move to remove him will be legally challenged. I asked Dr. Macfield a question on Monday whether or not the current decision that was made in terms of him taking leave, whether or not that can be legally challenged as well, and he said yes, that it could be. Are you all prepared to challenge the decision of leave?
Listen, this thing is now behind us. This thing about 7 members. We can't get 7. The government has not moved on doing anything, or as far as we know, about sanctioning, censoring the Speaker for his actions. Forget about what they were. Forget about whether they have criminal content to it. I don't want to hear about anything to do with that. That's not my job. The opposition job is to look to see if there's a need for any sanctions against that individual. That's the same way he decides if there's sanctions against us for our conduct, our behavior, whether it's conducted outside or inside. That is nomenclature. Those are practices. So, the Speaker says that he has a discretion. He has no discretion. If we had brought that and gotten those 7 votes, Standing Order 8.2 says, in addition to the meeting provided for in paragraph 1, the presiding officer may, in his discretion, summon the meeting of a house and shall do so on the written requisition signed by not less than 7 members. Okay? They're 2 different things altogether. Recognized in that section. Now, that's past us. The government not going to come over and sign it because they're not going to do it. Mr. Bryan wanted us to bring a vote of no confidence in the government. Do you understand what a vote of no confidence is in the government? It's a feel-good motion for us to be in the opposition to beat up the government. Because the government not bring the no confidence motion. And the government circles its wagons. Anywhere in the world, you just see it in America. The Republicans circled the wagon, and they had Trump in the middle of it. Okay? And they wouldn't impeach him. That's what governments do. That is what we do. Now, the Standing Orders requires, and the Constitution, Standing Orders says that the minority, opposition, or any member for that matter, by extension, the opposition, can bring in a motion. If it is such that it does not impugn the character of anyone, it's not repugnant, it's not it's saying obvious stuff and what have you, it must be debated. Now, Mr. Huyney asks, what are the options now? If there's nothing else we can do, Mr. Kenneth ran from signing that to avoid debate. He is going to get the opportunity to debate in front of the very people that he represents. And so will I. Now, if he does not allow that, that go on judicial review. You get where I'm from?
No, that one went right over my head.
Okay. Well, if it went over yours, it may go over others as well. I don't know where they are, but Gilbert and Dr. Steve will tell you that I know they're in here. Now, there are provisions in here for we wasn't here Friday. There are provisions in here for motions. Okay?
But to get motions, the legislature must meet. And it is it's a decision between the government, and I would imagine the speaker has some say in it. The premier would contact the speaker and say we want to have the legislative assembly sit at such and such a date. We're going to run over a little bit, Ms. Susan, if you don't mind.
But O.C., I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you that the speaker has to approve it.
Yes.
Now, here is where we are at. We are allowed to bring motions. It will take 2 people to bring motions. A mover and a seconder. Okay? If that motion is in keeping with the requirements of the Standing Orders, it must be put to the floor. Okay? Now, if the government decides that they are going to hold it up in business committee, or the speaker decides that he is not going to allow it to pass his desk, because he's still the substantive speaker, Now, the problem you have with that is everything that we do now has to be approved by him still, and he's on the leave of absence. Okay?
And you have no deputy.
We have no deputy, and there is no one with as far as I'm concerned, with the requisite experience over on their side to sit in that chair for extended periods of time. Okay?
Well, there are, but they're ministers. And
no.
yeah.
You can't go with
They're not
ministers.
eligible. They're not eligible
by
That's
the
what I'm saying,
Constitution.
yes, yeah.
I'm sorry. But I am saying to you too, there is another option.
Okay.
Don't be afraid of the debate, because there are options to do it. And if the government does not do it, then they're responsible. But I know what my responsibilities are, and I will instruct my people accordingly as to what my advice is. I will advise them accordingly that this is the next move if we so desire to push this forward on behalf of the people. Now,
as a symbolic move, is there any consideration being given to holding a mock legislative assembly on the steps of the legislative assembly with the 6 members who are willing to sign it and just go through the motion? Because the people want to understand all of this. So maybe, having a little pantomime out there, that might, that might help.
No, this is like a serious business.
No, it is serious, and people need to know.
A motion is not a condemnation of the speaker, That motion is to debate the discussion, have discussion, and that may very well go into the government saying, all right, let's go behind closed doors and see what's happening here. And then we discuss it.
Yeah.
But the government has not approached me. I have, on my own initiative, contacted the Premier. He has responded.
Yes.
He has responded within minutes on both occasions. The Tuesday with the statement from the speaker. At that time, the Premier told me he was discussing it with his caucus. Then on Thursday, with the statement saying that he was on leave of absence, I again wrote him, and he responded and told me that Mr. Bush remains the substantive speaker, and Section 72 of the Constitution would come into play if we met again. So we got to meet at some stage. We're going to meet.
Yeah. Okay. Gone way over the time, and this segment has sponsors and stuff like that. So I'm not even going to have my closing comments today. Only to say that we're advised that the raffle for the agriculture show, it didn't take place on Ash Wednesday because of all of the books not being brought in at that point in time or something. Anyway, we're being told that the raffle will be held on Talk today on Radio Cayman this afternoon as well. So just wanted to pass that out to people. I want to say to you, have a great weekend, gentlemen. Great discussion this morning. Look forward to seeing you next Friday as well. And folks, have a great weekend. God bless.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates.
FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have in North Island.
Generations present.
Your voice.